Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to go back to I Ching because I had a really fun time yesterday doing this introduction for you guys. Just as a reminder, this is the one that we did yesterday, so that kind of mathematical analysis, this a little bit of algebra. So basically, if you're trying to learn how to use the I Ching, you can check out the first video. But I'm just going to walk through another exercise because I had a really fun time yesterday doing that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. First, I need to get the coin. If you're going to be doing your I Ching, you take 3 coins, heads and tails. That's where them to be even, so that they are, your not the chances, but the like when you toss the coins, then you'll be expecting like a. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, there you come, please. Okay, so to read your hexagram for the I Ching, so as we said before, it's a collection of 64 hexagrams. It's kind of like Chinese version of the tarot cards. I mean, not exactly, but it's if you're trying to understand like what is the I Ching, what is it used for, it's kind of like that. So people go to this. I'm going to do a soundtrack. Yeah, it's working. And so people go to this for reference in terms of like, what are they going to do? What should they do in the future when they're looking for guidance, from the universe, connecting to a higher source. And so let's start off with the calculation. So we have to make a 6-line diagram in order to identify which hexagram the universe is telling me to read today. Okay. So we'll remember that heads is times 3, tails is times 2. So you take the number of heads and tails that you have, and just want to double check because it was my first time yesterday. Yeah, tails is 2, heads is. So now I have 1 head, 2 tails. 1 head is 1 times 3 plus 2 times 2. That's 4. 6, 7, 8. So the first one is 8. If it's an even number, you put a solid line, right? If no, it's even, so do a broken line. Okay, so the first one is the broken line. Okay. Here we go again. Also write the number next to the lines, so we go in order. Again, don't forget to go from top to bottom. I wish I could show you on the screen what I'm doing here. Maybe there's a way to do that. Okay, yeah, I can kind of do that here. Okay, so I'm tossing the coins again for the second time. You guys probably can't see the coins, but this is like 2 tails and 1 head, so I have the same thing again. The second one is also 8. So we have 2 8s in a row. And one more time. Again, don't forget, go from bottom to top, right? It's a little bit counterintuitive. Okay, this time we have 1 tails and 2 heads. So 1 times 2 and 2 times 3. So that's 6, 7, 8. Are you shitting me again? It's really okay. 8 again. I don't know what's going on here. This is I never experienced this one before. Okay. So the bottom trigram is already lower trigram is the where are we at? Kun, which is earth. So an earth quality. So now we're going to the 4th line. So you'll see 1, 2, 3. I should draw that bigger so you guys can see. There's no need to make it that small. So can you see that from? No, you can't even really see that. 8. Maybe if I go down. Too bad you cannot zoom. Or I need a darker pencil. Anyway, I'm trying, guys. I'll show you now. So the first 3 hexagram readings were 8. All 3 of them. So you have a broken line because it's even. So now we're going to do the top 3. Okay, so 2 tails, 1 head. Again, okay, damn. They telling me I need to get back down to earth, I guess, because all of these earth signs. If you remember the chart, when you look at the chart here, you'll see this is like the lower, and then the horizontal. The horizontal one is the upper. And so they correspond to different elements. So earth, water, air, and so forth. And then they have like the Chinese word associated to that. Okay, so this next one. So we have two tails and one head. Four, five, six, seven. It's an even number now, so it's 7, because 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3, plus 4 plus 3, 5, 6, 7, and 7. Okay. And then we're going to hit 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. Okay, now we have 3 heads. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 is odd, so you draw a solid line. And then the last one. Here we go for the last line, the first line, guys. So yeah, 3 tails. So 2 times 2, 2 times 3 is 6. That's also even. So we put D dash. And so we have the changing lines are always 6, 9, 69. A fun, easy way to remember that. So here's the diagram that I've made for today. The one on the top, focus on that. I made it bigger so you can like see it easier. And basically this will tell you how to look up, according to the diagram. You use the lower 3 and then the top 3 to like find it on the chart. And then when you go and find the hexagram, you will only read the lines after the introduction that are either 6 or 9. So I have, again, it goes from 1st to 6th line. So I will have to read I can't read from the screen, only the 5th and 6th lines. Okay. So the bottom one is the kun, which is earth. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. And the line and space. This one means lake, kun and lake. Okay, so we're going to hexagram 45 now. We're going to hexagram 45, and then because my changing lines, which are the 6 and 9, are present on lines 5 and 6. So this is my reading for today. Let's go to hexagram 45. I really like this. This is like a fun little process. I would like to know the history of like how this developed and stuff like that. Yes, we've read this one before for the podcast, so I'm sure you'll find an episode. This is called Gathering Together. I'll set this to the side. We don't need those corns anymore, ready? Then maybe I can bring the camera back up a bit. Yeah. Okay, guys, so here we go. So now we're going to be reading the hexagram 45. This one is called Sui, Gathering Together. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I think that's fine. I had the microphone a bit farther away. Gathering together. To lead others towards the good, one must purify one's own character. The I Ching teaches that the world cannot move towards harmony. Take this headset out. The world cannot move towards harmony and well-being unless human beings act in unison to further what is good and true. Our power as individuals is multiplied when we gather together as families, groups, or communities with common goals. It is our collective strength that makes positive change possible in the world. However, the tremendous power of human collectives must be directed by a qualified leader. The hexagram tree encourages you to develop your character into that of a leader. Before a person may gather others together to achieve good, he must first gather together within himself proper principles. A leader who is not balanced and collected within himself will always be suspected by his followers, and in the hour when he needs them most, they will hesitate. Therefore, the first task of the potential leader is to accumulate his own character, all that is good, true, and correct. In a very real sense, the progress of the world depends upon your progress as an individual now. Concentrate then on examining and correcting your thoughts, attitudes, and actions. Improve yourself into the kind of person you yourself would follow wholeheartedly and without hesitation. Learn to accept that natural progress occurs when you act in harmony with proper principles and seek no progress at the expense of those principles. Train yourself to avoid misfortunes by anticipating them in advance. By purifying your character in this way, clinging steadfastly to higher things, you lead yourself and others towards well-being and good fortune. It's so nice. I love this. Okay, and then I need to read 5 and 6 because in my diagram, the 6 and the 9, which are the calculations when you toss the coins, and you're supposed to add them up. Tails you multiply times 3. Heads you multiply times 3, and tails you multiply times 2. So you drop all 3 coins and say you had 2 tails and 1 head. So you would do the math equation: 1 head times 3, because that's the numerical value for heads. And then tails, the numerical value is 2, and I had 2 tails, so 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3, 5, 6, 7. That's the whatever order you're on, maybe the first line. And because that number is 7, it is even, and even numbers are the ones with the odd numbers are a solid line. If it's an even number, as you will see here in this chart, you see the even numbers are they have a space in between the line, but the odd numbers, they have a solid line. So this is how you build and then can determine where you are. And that also tells you which lines you need to focus on to read, whichever ones accumulate to the 6 and 9. For me, it was only the 5th and 6th line of hexagram 45. So now I need to pull it back. Where did it go? 45, yes, gathering together. Okay. The 5th line. Some who gather together may not be sincere about doing what is right. Do not become engaged with inferior influences. They want to bring others in unison. The way to bring others into unison is to steadily improve yourself. And the 6th line, genuine progress is only made if we are sincere in our devotion to the sage. There will be a cause for lament if we are not. So I really like that last line also, because it's really reminding us to come back to our true self, to the higher power within us, that the God voice, the presence of the higher power of the universe that's speaking through us, through our intuitions, through our emotional responses. And this, again, as we read yesterday in the Tao of Physics, how physics is really validating this Eastern mysticism via Western physics, right? And so these two are coming together. And again, it even provides more justification on everything that we've been reading for the past year or more. Actually, this justifies what Rev Ike is saying. It justifies what Brian Withers is saying. It justifies just an acknowledgement of who we actually are on Earth. We are creators. We are here to build, to love, to share our energy, and to help others. That's why we're here, and coming back to this text and comparing it, after having shared with you guys some yesterday, the Tao of Physics, this is really making, it's really giving us a good ground to stand on, because this worldview and perspective is now buttressed by so many different areas. And I said yesterday, when we were in the process of reparenting, we must work on our worldview. Building a new worldview is essential, especially if you grew up with religious abuse, controlling or abusive parents, narcissistic parents, and so forth. So important, and I was thinking about this because a lot of people in my life are trying to reach out and come back, and but I'm having these intuitions and feelings that they're just not the right people for me, because they're not on the same path, they're not in the same awareness, and they don't really respond to the things that I'm doing and trying to teach here. And I'm trying to learn what is the difference between allowing someone to be who they are. The problem is not having a difference of interests or opinions. That's not the problem. It's more like their inability to shift out of a certain paradigm. Like they're in a lower vibration, basically. And when I'm trying to move into a higher vibration, it's like the crabs in the bucket, they're trying to pull you down. And this is the same pattern that most of us had with our parents, right? And so when we get older and we're moving into our own lives and building our own lives, we don't need to maintain this pattern. And if you've been habituated and programmed or conditioned to essentially self-sacrifice to maintain some kind of illusion of connection for the benefit of another, because that's how your parents raised you, then, when you go out into the adult world, you're going to be carrying that stuff forward into your friendships, your co-working relationships, your dating relationships, all kinds of situations. And so that's why it's so important to work on your worldview. And because many of those people who are in the ACA program or in the process of reparenting have also experienced religious abuse. And religious abuse can really cause extreme devastation. So there have been a lot of people that I've met from what do you call these people? The Jehovah's Witness. Oh my gosh. The issues that they face, I feel, are so much worse even what I faced coming from the Southern Baptist Church. And there's also the Scientology, and there's another one that's on the top of my head: Jehovah's Witness, Scientology, and is it the Mormon? I don't know. This another. I listen to some podcasts and people talk about how they grow up in like these cultish experiences, and they kind of like neglect you and push you out if you try to leave, like to maintain some kind of control. It's really insane. It's really insane. And to break free from that requires a lot. First of all, you have to have the guts to lose everyone, because you have to start over from zero. When you're leaving that cultish kind of environment, you have to also be confident enough in your own mind to vision and create a new reality. And then you have to be resourceful and energized or trusting enough to start building a new community. And I think the first place that someone who is exiting these experiences, I do consider the Southern Baptist Church is something that is very corrosive, teaching you that you are a sinner, teaching you that you don't deserve to be alive, teaching you that you deserve to burn in hell. These things, teaching you that if you are a lesbian, you're going to die and God is going to send you to hell. And the whole point of that was just designed to take people away from themselves and to externalize God and basically cause people to hate themselves. That is the reason for organized religion, is to maintain control. It's not to maintain a real connection. You don't need religion for that. You need spirituality. You need peace, really, just connect with your own inner self. And so this is what I find is the most important in building that new worldview. Again, that's why I bring up these texts, because I know many people struggle with an understanding of God, or with an understanding or willingness to even consider the possibility that God exists. And so these things are so important. So important, because they give us grounding and stability. Once we have that grounding and stability, we're able to make more progress in our reparenting journey. We're able to trust ourselves more. We're able to have confidence, But rebuilding that worldview is one of the most important and most challenging steps, because in the ACA program, for example, or these 12-step programs, they say a higher power of your understanding, okay? And God should always be, your connection to God should always be a custom situation, right? You should always know how to relate to God without depending on others, because you are an expression of God. You are an expression of the universe, And that means that everything that you need is already within you, okay? And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Again, checking out the I Ching. I hope you guys find some value in this. Maybe we'll check it out on your own and start brainstorming about how you can start filling in the gaps or getting more creative with your worldview and building a worldview that overall is supporting you, your goals, your energy, and where you want to go in your life. Because I'm telling you right now, the way that I grew up, I knew I had certain goals. So my surf knowledge was there, but I was undermined because of the religious abuse. And so my worldview was kind of shaky, because I had been indoctrinated with that Christianity, Southern Baptist stuff that is really just designed to cause you to hate yourself. And so, again, coming back to ourselves and gaining access to our energy requires correcting our worldview and self-image also. They're ironically quite similar, and they are quite interrelated. So that's it for today. I might pop over and check out another book, but I will see you guys soon. Take care.